What is up, everybody? It's Jake the Outdoorsman back here with another video. Today we have a Kawasaki KLX 250 Enduro. It's been sitting in the lady's garage for about 5 years now, and she said, hey, if you can get it running, I'll give you a deal on it. So today we're gonna charge the battery up, we're gonna drain the old gas out, see if we can't get this thing fired up by the end of the day. So stay tuned for that. We got the battery charged up. We got the gas drained a little bit. Let's see if we got any juice here. Ooh. Let's see if she'll turn over. It's in neutral. Ooh. Okay, sounds like we got good compression. Got good compression. We'll see if we can maybe get to that carb and clean that carb out a little bit. Unless she decides to fire up. If she decides to fire up, we'll just do a drain and refill. But that makes me super happy that at least it turns on and it cranks over. But yeah, we got the seat there. We got the tail light and the side fairings here with the owner's manual. I absolutely love this design of these fairings. But yeah, not a bad bike so far. So I'm draining the gas. It is literally brown and it stinks. And I made a huge mess. But good news is I'm getting it drained and we'll be able to flush the tank out with some sea foam and see if we can't get this thing to fire up by the end of the day here. But going good. I mean, everything seems really clean on the bike. I mean, the guy looks like he hardly drove it and only put a few hundred miles on, I guess. So yeah, we'll flush it out and keep you guys updated, I guess. So we're back. I let some sea foam, some brake clean, and I put a few nuts and bolts in there inside the fuel tank so I could swoosh it around good and get all that rust out of there. It's been sitting overnight, so I just gotta get the rest of the nuts and bolts out of there and fill her up with fuel and see if she'll start. Okay, so it's still really rusty in there. I'm not really sure how to get that out. I think I just ripped my pants. But I got all the nuts and bolts out of there, out of the fuel tanks, and I had to put a new little fuel line on because it's just so squishy from being such old gas. So note to self: if you're letting your fuel sit over the winter, put some premium in it. Don't put that garbage in there, because that's exactly what gums up the carburetor and stuff. But yeah, you still see the rust, but hopefully you can just clean it out good and she'll be ready to rock and roll, you know what I'm saying, man? Okay, here we go. We just put some fuel in it. You gotta have premium, remember. key on. Let's see if she fires up. Oh. Battery just died on me. Hang on. Alrighty, here we go. Why are my flashes on? Let's see if she fires up. Got a background. Might have to use a little starting fluid. So what I ended up doing is cleaning out the fuel tank, and there was tons of rust built into the fuel pump. And so we disconnected the fuel pump, we got it cleaned out, stuck it back in, and there's still nothing. And we were like, still cranked over, like, what in the world is going on? So it's the next day finally. Last night, couldn't get it to run, and the only thing left to check was the fuel injector. So I ripped out the fuel injector, stuck some brake cleaner in there, took an air hose to it, and we powered it up, and she was spraying out. So I, okay, stuck it in there, and for some reason then it started running. So then I stuck the injector in, and it was just plugged in the fuel tank, everything else, cranked it over, and it fired right up. Now, unfortunately, I did all that off camera, so you won't be able to see it, but the injector is literally held in by a Phillips screw, and super easy to get out and clean out. Same with the fuel pump. There's like 5-10 millimeter bolts on the bottom. You just pull them right out, and it was super easy to clean out that way. So I flushed the tank a couple of times, and even the pump, and there's tons of rust in there. So I think eventually you're gonna have to get a tank or a pump, or maybe even both, and just flush out the system. When I stuck the injector in, it was like, it ran beautiful on full throttle. And I took her around the block, and low speeds though, it was just like, bah, 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 bah. Man, I'm like, here we have this exhaust. It's held on by a nut there, bolt here, and another bolt here. And then you just loosen this clamp, and she'll loosen right up out of there. But you gotta be careful though, because it's got this O2 sensor here, and it just plugs in under the seat there. So unplug that, and I'm assuming there's probably gonna be a mouse nest in here, but we'll see. And then, I don't know, maybe it went as far as up in here into the header. But I got the jump pack hooked up, and I have the exhaust disconnected here, and I still have the O2 sensor plugged in. That way the readings are pretty good. We'll see if it runs a little better. I think it wasn't giving me a running right because we don't have that connected. So I think I'm gonna either have to blow the muffler out and just see, but we're getting somewhere. So here's the bike once again. If you look right down in here, this fuel line goes right here to this injector. It's held on by one connector here and that Phillips screw right there. Comes right out. If you hook it up to power and ground, I don't know if you have a power probe that does pulsing power. If that's what you need. You gotta hook it up to power and ground and then shoot some pressure through it, some air pressure through it. With some carb clean and it should be freed up. And so that's what we did. We flushed it out, we cleaned it out. And then I filled this fuel tank with a bunch of carb clean, some seafoam, and some premium gas. And it cleaned up this fuel pump. Before it was just like brown and really dirty. So far it's doing a good job. I'm gonna empty it out and I'm gonna throw some vinegar in there. And hopefully over the weekend, the vinegar is gonna sit in there, do its magic with the rust. But I mean, so far it idles amazing. The idle's amazing. We did a new spark plug in there. And yeah, don't mind the lighter and the gas. Just leave that in there. But yeah, it's a nice bike. It's got 90 miles on it, and took it for a rip. It's a little doggy, but yeah, it's a good bike so far. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got no complaints. I got a aftermarket carbon fiber seat here thrown on there, and got a aftermarket exhaust, but it ended up being too loud, so I threw the OE one back on. So stay tuned and I'll get her going in part 2. So what I did here, the fuel tank is super rusty, that you take some white vinegar and you pour the white vinegar in the tank, let it sit for 24 hours. And I've already done it once, and the first time it came out really good. It cleaned out most of the rust, and I did it again just to get it pretty much the entire tank and the pump, just to get it clean. I'm gonna dump it out now. As you can see, all the rust floated to the top and it's all like inside here. So I'm gonna dump that out and then just hose down the inside with a hose. You can even use a pressure washer if you want, and then just dry it out really good so you don't have any more moisture in there, and it should be good to go. So with the vinegar sitting in there for 24 hours, this is the result. I mean, inside that tank is super duper clean. All that rust just vanished. And even on the fuel pump, I mean, this fuel pump was brown, all rusty. And now it's, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better job. The vinegar really did the trick. I finally got the battery in. I ordered it on Amazon. It was probably somewhere around 50 bucks. So we're gonna be installing that today. It just slides in here, like so. And then there's a little clamp that goes around the battery right there. And then the fairing goes over that. And it's just held on by a couple 8mm bolts here. And then we'll put some gas in it and hopefully we get it running. So I put the battery in. I just hooked the jump pack to it just so it has some more juice. We're gonna try and crank this over. forgot to plug in the fuel injector. Let's try it out. Hey! She runs great. Purrs like a kitten. Now that we got it running, I'm going to throw the fairings back on and give her a bath, and then this thing should be ready for the road. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel, and see you on the next video.